Hey guys, Fred here, welcoming you to my Night of Champions review here on the CC Network. Last night, Night of Champions kind of surprised us. I mean, we had a few good matches on there, had some good title changes, some of which weren't for the benefit of some people, and we saw a shock return and ending that kind of left us bemused. I know a lot of people, of course, thinking, oh wow, Brock Lesnar came out victorious, how the hell could that possibly be a negative? Well, you're going to find out if you've watched it. If you haven't, and you've come here to listen to my opinions and find out, then all's well and good. Take a seat back and enjoy. Now, if you've never seen one of my reviews before, then you must know that I do my reviews of matches via a 5-point rating factor system, rated on psychology, move variety, crowd reaction, match length and pacing, and my overall enjoyment of the match. Let's go straight in then, shall we, to the opening contest, which I knew would open the show, because, as always, in Wrestling Card 101, you need to get a match on the first that'll excite the people. And the Usos versus Golden Stardust really did. Psychology, I gotta give this a 3 for quite a few reasons. One, there was a lot of brute physicality from both teams in the early going, showing how much they wanted to win this match, and also how much they ended up hating each other. But the one thing that really ups this is the psychology of the body selling. I mean, of course, you look at the revenge taken on Stardust's leg for the entirety of the second half of that match, in revenge to what happened to the Usos' leg a couple weeks ago. It really highlights the revenge, that these guys really just wanted to hurt each other, knowing that that title means a lot. And it's good to see the tag titles mean something. And it's even better when we see Cody Rhodes selling it beautifully. Half the time he's limping on his leg, trying to hit these moves, and he pulls it off. And not to mention, at the end, gotta say this quite bluntly, he sells it despite no selling it briefly to celebrate with the championships. Well done on thinking that. Not to mention, Stardust slapping whichever Russo it was with his own glove. I've got to tell you, it was quite impressive saying, hey, we're showing dominance here, Usos. You've run through every single team you've been against, but you can't do the same against us. We are something different. And that really told that story that, yeah, Goldust and Stardust are pretty much on course to win, and so they did. It was an interesting match on that regard. Move variety, well, I gave that a 2. There were some interesting mat moves here that really just kind of took me by surprise. A barricade crossbody by an Uso turned into a snap power slam on the floor by Goldust was a nice little move. The Samoan drop counter into a swinging neckbreaker by Goldust, by Stardust. Wow, I gotta tell you, that really impressed me, showing that the flexibility and movability of Cody Rhodes / Stardust proves that he's definitely one of the best fine young workers in WWE's repertoire. And overall, they were the big ones that kind of hit me. And you know what? It made me realise that you put two teams in here who athletically are very sound, you're going to get something impressive. Sure, it may have only been a small amount. Okay, I can also combine that flipping senton over the top rope cross body combo that both teams did on each other as well, which was just a fantastic flurry of insanity. But overall, it really hit home. These two know how to really put on an exciting match, and it came across so. Crowd reaction, 4.5. Not 4.5, blah, a 4. Don't want to get overzealous here. This crowd, they were reasonably hot for the beginning. It petered out a little bit when it was very physical and slow, methodical in the beginning stages, but then later on, it flourished. The moment that pace picked up, oh boy, people went crazy. People lost it. The crowd couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was fast, insane action, and by the time the match ended, they were on their feet cheering the new champions at fullest, while saying to the people, yeah, I know, we saw the same match too. We watched something fun. And okay, midway through it could have picked up a little bit more, but the fact is the crowd were on point. First match of the night, they were ready for it. They were happy for it. They were hoping to see something good, and by God did they. And you can't really go wrong with that, in all fairness. Match length and pacing. Now this is an interesting one, because we have a 3.5. I've already mentioned how fast-paced this match was. It didn't really let up outside of the first couple of minutes when they were trying to work each other's bodies down. Apart from that, this match flew by. And when you say that about a match that pretty much went for over 12 minutes, it really hits itself highly. And honestly, Good to see a title change as well put in there. But overall, sure, the timing was reasonable for it. It could have gone a little bit longer like the Wyatt's match at SummerSlam. But, of course, they weren't going to do that. Because it wouldn't want to upstage your own match, would they? But overall, I think the pacing could have been a little slower in just building it up for the story. But, the story came through in the end. I don't really have much of a complaint. My overall enjoyment, well, it's a 3.5. I've got to say, this match was fun, fast, exciting, and like I've said, it's the perfect way to start a pay-per-view off. You've got to get the people excited behind it, and just ensure that, basically, you're going to get them going throughout the entire night. However, going to point this out, that wasn't the case, because, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, this was the best match of the whole evening. The whole evening. And that says a lot, really. I think Mark Pearson says it's a bad sign when the best match of the night is the opener. But then again, I can't really complain. It was a fun match. 3 and 3? 3.25 star. I'm going to go as far as saying, yeah, the tag team division, at least as it involves these two, the Wyatts, and possibly another team like the Ascension sprinkled in, I'm telling you now, the tag team division in WWE right now may be very small, but it can't do any wrong on matches right now, and that's a very, very, very good sign. Cesaro versus Sheamus. Psychology was a 2.5, and you know what? I'm going to have to say this right now. When you've got two brawlers, and, well, one's a brawler, one's a technical wrestler who can transform his style into a brawling style, you look and wondered, okay, you're expecting this match to start off very aggressively, but you know what? It wasn't. It started off very cool, because you had this chain grappling, takedowns to start off the match, and that's a very European wrestling thing, that these two were trying to evenly match each other and say, okay, we may have had a big run-in the past, but if we can prove you how good we are at this, it'll show that we know we can appreciate each other's abilities before one of us ends up breaking it and fighting into a huge brawl. And honestly, it worked. It created these two do have mutual respect for each other's abilities in spite of their feud, and it's so nice. So nice to see. And honestly, the working of... I'm just telling you now, that was just a real fun. But aggressiveness didn't stop. The working of all over the body, mostly the back, of Sheamus and Cesaro really hit forward. But the use... I've got to tell you now, I just look at these two and think, the chemistry between these two as well. Their feud has been built on who is a superior athlete. And it worked in showing that both of these guys have movesets to back it all up to. Move variety, it's a 3. And oh boy, this match had moves aplenty that I can talk about. Unlike the last match where a couple really highlighted each other's movesets brilliantly, this highlighted why you should always pull a big move out of the bag. Think Daniel Bryan Triple H at WrestleMania 30 if you want to see any reference to why that's important. Go to this match and you will see a middle rope springboard double axe handle by Cesaro, a chest beat reversed into a boot on the apron, a flip slam from the top rope by Sheamus, which was lovely, a double underhook slam by Cesaro, a torture rack slam, by Cesaro, countering the bro kick. I mean, come on. It was all insane, and most of it happened at the end of this match. Sure, a kick to the face was countered with a bro to the face, which inevitably got the win for Sheamus, but I will say this, it was fun. Because, okay, the match started off very slow, very methodical with its technical wrestling. But then when it started picking up towards the end, oh boy, it hit its stride and created something entertaining as hell. Not very good on that one. Next, crowd reaction, a 1.5, and this is where the match gets ruined. Because obviously, as anyone would say, if technical wrestling is done in a WWE ring, the fans do not give a damn. And I was watching this thinking, this is amazing. This is good, technical, physical wrestling. This is what I watch professional wrestling for. And the crowd just sat on their ass. Okay, thank God the latter part of the match with these big moves, like I've already mentioned, gave these people something to cheer about. But after what they saw in the opener, I honestly thought maybe doing this afterwards to calm them down may have not been the best idea. And again, I predicted in my original thought that this match would be later on in the card. I'm happy they put this one on here because it actually would have probably stunk out the place a bit later. Match length and pacing. Match length and pacing on this one, I'm going to give it I don't know what to give it. I'm going to give it a 3. Because overall, I've already mentioned the pace of this match going a bit slow, then really speeding up once the adrenaline kicks in and hitting those big, big moves. But I will say, overall, it was a bit lopsided in the middle. It didn't really know what it was going to do with itself. It could either try to remain technical or go into that fast aggressive state. It had too many periods where they were going between the two, deciding what to do mid-match almost. And I find that to be really, really annoying. Because if you're trying to understand how the pace of a match goes, it usually starts off aggressive first, fast, then it slows down and then picks up again when the adrenaline superhero mode kicks in. But for this was kind of the reversal of that, where it ended up having a lot of slow, methodical stuff to begin with a lot of fast pace to pick up, mostly because people realised that the crowd were dying and they needed something to put them through. And that's overall not the thing I want to hear. I don't want to hear that this is inevitably what's going to happen. I don't want to have to see, oh, we need to pick up the pace because the crowd are dead. That's not really fun. I mean, I didn't give a damn. I was watching some fun, entertaining wrestling. I don't think any other people would care either. And the time, this went for about 8, 9, 10 minutes. It was a good, solid match for what it was. I'm not going to lie. It had a decent amount of time, which for this match I thought would get a lot shorter than this, mostly because I thought that Cesaro or Sheamus would completely demolish them, which really wouldn't be good in that regard. But overall, it was an entertaining little spectacle, and it was quite fun, actually, in that regard. My enjoyment was a 3. You already have heard that my technical wrestling love in this match kind of put it over the top. The moves were spectacular, and these guys have such good chemistry. I'm hoping to God they have another match. I really do, because then Cesaro can win, and, well, we can see where that one can go. At the moment, Sheamus is holding on to that title, and okay, it may not have been the best result in the world, but at least Cesaro looked so legitimate in there against Sheamus. Fans who didn't like him are going to get a reason to like him now. That was fun in a completely brilliant way. And you know what? It's not 3-star because of the crowd reaction, and the psychology working on the body part would have been appreciated. But overall, gotta say, 2 3/4 star. This was a fun little match. Go check this out if you haven't seen the pay-per-view. It's going to be entertaining for you. Now, Ziggler versus Miz. This. Okay, I'm pretty much in agreement with everyone here, and everyone will be in agreement with me. Who the hell thought Florida Georgia Line's commentary in this match ruined it? Because you're trying to watch a match. If you're in my position, especially, and along with other people in YouTube or a professional standard like a Justin LaBar, you're trying to review this match. You're trying to review the match, and what the commentary should do is highlight, yes, what's going on in the ring. WWE just threw that book out the bloody window and focused it on a crap country lineup. I don't give a damn about these guys. I didn't even know they were on the show until a couple of minutes before, where I thought they were performing. I would have been okay with them performing, because I would have then been able to mute the damn thing. Instead, they ruined what was a solid match. I tried to watch it again, and to pick out the points. And I will admit, psychology-wise, a 1.5. Ziggler and Miz hate each other. Ziggler immediately trying to hit that face as much as he could. The confrontation between R. Ziggler and Mizdow hit itself nicely. It was a good thing to see these two finally clatter each other. But overall, there wasn't that much in there that really put it forward. But again, it wasn't being sold to us because of that damn commentary. Move variety, 1.5, only because that famous countering into a powerbomb position for The Miz got flipped into a sunset flip by Ziggler for a 2 count. That was pretty fun, and it really took the wind out of the commentary's sail, I will tell you that. Crowd reaction was a 1.5, they were kind of into it, but it didn't really show that even with Ziggler's charisma, and honestly Miz's charisma in the ring, you'd expect the crowd to be at least a bit more flared up by something they can do. They weren't, surprisingly. Match length and pacing was a 2. It was fast, flurried, and action-packed. Can't go wrong. Fact is, it lasted around 7 or 8 minutes, which wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. But, honestly, it's just... it all goes back down to the commentary. Because usually, the commentary is supposed to describe everything. If they describe literally nothing for the entire match, just like a crowd reaction being so important to me, if the crowd doesn't care, why the hell should I, is my usual tagline. The same applies for the commentary. If the crowd are into it, but the crowd are looking down at the table down below, and they're not caring, seemingly, then what the hell should we do? And honestly, it ruined this match for me. A 1 for my enjoyment, because, ladies and gentlemen, that commentary was atrocious. I'm going to tell you right now, Vince McMahon, do not pull something like that again on pay-per-view. I know you're only getting $9.99 a month for pay-per-views, but if you want a person like me, a Brit, who is waiting patiently until October the 1st to get hold of that damn network, we're going to be expecting you not to pull that kind of crap again, because it will ruin a pay-per-view and make the job of people like me for reviewing these things much more difficult. It'll make our ideas on your product look incredibly worse. And speaking of things that were worse, Miz should not have won. In my opinion, it really put a damper on this, because sure, it'll set up a rematch. Whoop-de-fricking-do, we get another rematch. But the match didn't give me anything to be excited about, unless it's a tag team match where the winner who gets the pinfall wins the title or something. I'll have no reason to really care. I liked the build going into this, I like Miz's heel gimmick, but the Miz winning this after a month? Nah. No. That, to me, that just seems way too quick. You need to give Ziggler some time to re-legitimize himself and that title. Don't just think, oh, we play hot potato because we'll get viewers' interests. That won't bother. Even though there was little of this match that I really found impressive, I'm going to give it a 1 star. I'm going to give it a 1 star because I'm really generous. I could have given this more, but WWE, don't put the Florida Georgia line on commentary or anywhere near WWE's product again. And also, Michael Cole, they're not the biggest band in the world if people around the world, such as myself in the UK, have not heard of them. Thank you. Now, we get to Henry versus Rusev, a match that I was going into looking forward to, but was incredibly disappointed. Anyway, psychology, the best part of this match, a 2.5. This proved pivotal in making sure this match was away from zero territory. You know why? Because that back was worked on the entire match by Rusev, thrown into the steps, hit with kicks, hit with knees, hit with headbutts, hit with every single possible thing that Rusev could have, and then of course locking in that accolade, trying to wrench that back, the counter, hitting that world's strongest slam. He then sold it some more, he couldn't lift it, and even better, the creme de la creme, the pièce de la résistance, Henry in the accolade, and he sheds a tear while screaming and tapping out. That's wonderful. I'm sorry, that is wonderful. You cannot deny how good that was. And also, I will point out a negative on the psychology side of things. You know how Rusev often has his flag ceremony at the end, and how Mark Henry at the beginning had the national anthem sung by Lillian Garcia, which was nicely done, by the way. Even though I didn't care, because I'm not a US citizen, I will say this. Isn't the national anthem supposed to be sung after the guy has won something? Sure, it was to build the fan interest, but seriously, you kind of got it wrong there. Move variety, a 1. You know, there wasn't much that I could really say that these two haven't done before, but I am always impressed by Rusev's flying kicks to the face, so I can live with that. Live with that a lot. Crowd reaction, gonna give it a 1.5. You know, they were really hot at the beginning of this match, but as the slow pace kinda meandered on, they lost interest fast. I think they realised that Henry wasn't going to put up a fight. The fact that a guy like Jack Swagger put up more of a fight says a lot. But then again, you look at Mark Henry's age, his physique, you would be surprised if anything good came from it. And the crowd kind of picked up on it. They were saying, well, hold on, why go to all this pomp and circumstance for Mark Henry when all it's going to do is deflate us when we realise he's not going to do this? And it really sucked the crowd dry. They really didn't give a damn. And when Rusev got the win, they just went, oh, again? They're waiting for someone to take Rusev out. And a lot of the fans, a lot of the casual fans especially, believed that Henry could do it. It was built that Henry was this all-big guy who could go in and destroy Rusev. And all we got was a whimper. Okay, you want to build up Rusev, I get it. But at the same time, I would have said, Give Henry a fucking chance. Sure, at the beginning, when Henry got some offense in, he got something, but that was not prolonged. Rusev's offense was, and the crowd lost out because of it. Match length and pacing, 1.5. This match had a few fast points at the beginning and straight when that accolade was counted, but apart from that, this was a slow match. Can't go wrong with that, can I, in saying it. It was a slow match. It went for far too long. Sure, you want to show the meticulous destruction of a legend in the eyes of Rusev, but it didn't work for me. And overall, my enjoyment was a 1. You know, I had a lot of faith going into this match that it would be at least better than most of Mark Henry's matches that we've seen in the last year or so. Quote Ryback at WrestleMania 29 for a good example. But it just didn't live up to much. The psychology was wonderful in the back, but that was it. The back, the anthems, the patriotism surrounding the desire to win for both men, I liked that. But that was all there was to this match. This match had not much else. And you know, I've got to admit, the counter of the accolade by Mark Henry was so sloppy. I mean, you look at that and say, okay, his arm couldn't be locked in because he's so big, I get that. But you try lifting him up, and it's like, it just looks really sloppy. And it really just made me sum up the match by saying, yep, there's the match there. It's coordinated reasonably well, but it just came across very sloppily. 3/4 of a star. I haven't given anything below 1 star for a few pay-per-views. And it's like the last time I gave one of those was at Elimination Chamber, giving off a 0. I probably gave a few others in that time, but I can't bloody remember because I'm not looking at my own bloody review archive right now. Fact is, 3/4 of a star. Get this one, I'm happy to say it. This match is largely forgettable. Do not need to watch it again. Jericho versus Orton. Ooh, it's going to be interesting. But before we get to that, though, I have to comment on one thing which is not match-related, and that's Dean Ambrose returning to beat the ever-loving crap out of Seth Rollins. This was fun. You know why? Because it's Dean Ambrose back on my TV for Monday nights. And you know what? Without Dean Ambrose, things get boring. Luckily for me, I get everything I needed, but of course the Authority came in, stopped the destruction, people were blaming Jamie Noble for ruining what was a great moment. The fact is, one rule applies to one set of people, the rest of them have to comply with everything else. Kinda sucks, but that's where the gimmick is going. Anyway, on to Jericho versus Orton now. Psychology was a 2. Now, of course, this is mostly taken for the very physical bumps that Jericho had throughout this entire match. He sold it so well. Screaming, agonizing in pain, barely moving, struggling to get up, he proved he knows what he's doing. And knowing how physical and strong Orton's attacks were quite early on in this match, proving that, yeah, Orton again, after losing to Roman Reigns and not winning a pay-per-view match since February, he wants to prove, yeah, you want to see me? I'm going to do things physically and brutalize people for it. And it worked. It proved, yes, that in a small way, Orton can tell a story. He wanted to prove the fans that he could do something. He wants to prove to Triple H that he still has that physicality in him that he has shown since Roman Reigns came along and distorted things. And it came across well. I would have liked to have seen more offense from Jericho, because what limited offense he did get didn't really work Orton up into a sweat too badly. Move variety was a 1. You know, I've seen a lot of what I've seen from these two before on quite a few occasions, and I will say, that top rope jump into an RKO is still one of the best things you can do. It's a great catching finishing move in the WWE video games, but for me, it didn't really stand out. I could call it. I said, they're waiting to pull that spot off, aren't they? And it was so obvious. Meaning I can't give it an extra for that, but all well and good. Crowd reaction of 1.5. The crowd were unusually quiet for this one. Kind of a testament to Randy Orton's recent singles matches on pay-per-view, including the one with Roman Reigns last month. People don't really care. They didn't care about this storyline. Oh, Jericho insults Orton and gets beaten up for it, therefore we have a match. It was very shallow build, and honestly it came across as such. The crowd only cared when Jericho's big moves, the Walls of Jericho, the Code Breaker and Lion Salt, they woke the crowd up. That was it. The crowd was asleep at that point. And it wasn't that good on that regard. The crowd were poor here. Match length and pacing, well, I'll give it a 2. It was fast, but of course, because Randy Orton dominated the moves. It was slow and methodical like we expect from the Viper, who slowly likes to pick his opponent apart. I get it. But when you have a guy like Chris Jericho who's a lot faster, even in his age, you need to pick up the pace, Randy. You're not that old either. Yeah, sure, you got messed up shoulders, but you can do more. It was really slow, and I liked that change of pace towards the end, but it meant, effectively, that this match just didn't really amount to much. The length of it, though, That was an interesting one that I really kind of liked. This match went for quite a little bit of time. I mean, it went for nearly 17 minutes, for God's sake. 17 minutes. 17 minutes. That's pretty damn good. Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that whatsoever. I mean, it went for a really long time, but with that kind of pacing, it doesn't work. You know, half the rating for the match length and pacing. 2.5 is for the pacing, 2.5 is for the match length. If the pacing drags the match length down, you're gonna get those kinds of results. And it's not a good thing on anyone's lips. And you know what? My enjoyment was a 1.5. There were some little moments that really perked me up, but nothing that really I could write home about. This was a typical Orton match, except the fact that he actually came out winning this time. And he's broken that pay-per-view drought, which makes me happy, because now I'm wondering what the hell is he gonna do going into Hell in a Cell. We'll have to wait and find out then, shall we? Okay, for the rating on this one, I could be evil and give this a 1.25, but because of that psychology and the match length giving it some time here, I'm going to give it 1.25 star. 1.25 star. I could have given it 1, but overall it's not a match you really want to go out your way to look at. That's just my opinion. Paige versus AJ and Nikki Bella. I want to point something out here, because this is important. Why is WWE playing hot potato with the Divas title too? I mean, you want to build Paige up as some new formidable diva. Sure, the matches she had from winning the title the first time round weren't anything to write home about, but they were entertaining. Gotta admit. And honestly, you look at this now and going, AJ's won the title? What, so they immediately can set up a rematch? What is it going to be? A fatal four-way between both Bellas and them? Is it going to be a submission match like many want? Is it going to be a psychological battle in a hair versus hair like my imagination wants? I don't know what's going to happen. And honestly, AJ winning the title was a bit out of left field and I really didn't see it coming. But it's in a negative way, because I really wanted Paige to remain as champion, so losing it would actually mean more. 1 month isn't enough. That's all I'm going to say. If you're going to put a title on someone, please don't make it a month. Make it a month and a half at best if you want to do it on Raw to build people up for fans viewing, but no. Yeah. Psychology, a 2. Mostly surrounding Paige and AJ, but I got to admit, Nikki got involved pretty well too for what she needed to do. Paige, of course, rubbing it in Nikki's face that she doesn't deserve to be in the match, that she doesn't belong in this wrestling circle. The physicality of all three. This was a feud that intertwined itself thanks to Stephanie McMahon, and it made itself look so. And my God, did it come across. I mean, Paige and AJ playing with each other's minds, leading out hands to go, can you help me? You want to make up things? Whack to the face! And that just, these two have really good chemistry. I just hope they can put on an absolute clinic like I know they can. Move variety was a 1.5, and there's 2 things to say. A spin-out slam counted into a Black Widow, can't go wrong with that, and a nice powerbomb superplex Tower of Doom. Sure, the spot was called out midway up the turnbuckle, but I don't give a damn, that was still amazing. Every time I see women pull this kind of bump off, it means they're doing what in any way the men would have done years ago to get our attention, and I like that. Can't go wrong in the slightest, it was fun. Crowd reaction, a 1. Just, this match had physicality, intensity, it got you interested, but the crowd didn't give a damn. I mean, you look at this crowd killed this match. This crowd ruined what was a fun little match. It was a Divas match that went for a solid amount of time, had a lot of in-ring action. The crowd didn't give a damn. The crowd often says they like watching Paige and AJ. They don't highlight it enough, and it annoys me. I look at this and think to myself, what the hell is going on here? And I'm disappointed, Nashville. I'm disappointed. Match length and pacing, a 2.5. This was very fast, very aggressive, and overall didn't slow down until really Paige and AJ got in the ring to sort out their psychological moments. But overall, the length went around 9-10 minutes. Gotta admit, pretty solid for a Divas match. I never expected a Divas match to go that long. It was a triple threat as well, so it managed to do so. And I'm happy. You know, the Divas match getting time, good. I'm just wondering what the next one's going to be and how much time's that going to get. My enjoyment was a 2.5. There was some very good in-ring action. It was a very entertaining match. And you know, if it wasn't for the crowd, I would have enjoyed it that much more. I would have enjoyed it so much more than I did. You know why? Because it would have made much more sense. It would have made much more sense if the crowd were into it and we didn't get that title change, but overall, it's going to get a 1.25 star. I would have given it more, but if you get a crowd reaction of 1 when everything else is upwards of 2s, you're really going to struggle with it. That's all I'm going to say. Finally, the main event. Lesnar vs Cena. Psychology, a 3. Now, honestly, some of you were saying, whoa, hold on a second. Why are you giving psychology a 3? There's a reason. There is a reason. Both men got offense. I know that so many people wanted to see Brock Lesnar systematically destroy John Cena. I understand that, but of course I didn't upload my review due to technological problems last month. But listen, Lesnar beating the crap out of Cena for the entire match tells a story, but it's not an entertaining one. Cena, okay, him fighting back was unrealistic at times, but at least it meant that at least it was a fight. At least it was not a complete squash, because you're not going to tell a complete story from a squash. This time, it was fun to see Cena try and fight back, because I was always looking how he would. Elbows to the face, that bloody nose, Lesnar exhibiting signs of a wear and tear in a match, which he hadn't shown for quite some time. It told the story that, yeah, Cena was thrown around last time. He's actually showing a lot of physicality and similar brawn, and it was fun. And okay, Lesnar throwing Cena around and basically countering every single bout of offense that he did with some hard-hitting clotheslines, suplexes. It really hit home that, yeah, even with you fighting back, Lesnar is still going to kick your ass. And it created that interesting story of who is going to win out in the end. Of course, it was let down by that flurry of AAs at the end. Not going to lie, but Seth Rollins. Who expected that? Seth Rollins causing a DQ? Yeah, I can live that. He whacks Cena in the head with the briefcase. Hits a curb stomp on Lesnar. We are about to see a winner. A new champion. But not in the way we expected it to be. And John Cena is not the champion, and Brock Lesnar still looks kind of strong. He still looks strong because he still has the title. You look at Hell in a Cell now and think, they've set the match up so well. It's not going to be Cena being dominated here, but Hell in a Cell, oh boy, that's going to be fun. And Seth Rollins interfering gives me the impression that, of course, the Authority wanted their Plan C to come out victor no matter what. They had to enlist Rollins to do so. Was expecting Dean Ambrose to run back in and clatter somebody, but then again, I wasn't going to get him twice in one night, was I? No. I mean, overall, there was a little bit of body selling that was missing, apart from that ginormous bruise on Cena's kidney area from the repeated blows in the turnbuckle area and landing on his back from suplexes. But yeah, gotta admit, really pulled that out of the hat this time. Move variety, a 1.5. There was only one thing that really caught my eye in this one. A triple suplex, getting Eddie chance from Lesnar. Nice, beautiful, can't really say much more than that. Crowd reaction, 3.5. They were into this from the get-go, they didn't let up, and it went all the way to the wire. Sure, Cena's offense together got a muted but passionate response, and overall, it kind of made this match feel like it was on two sides of it. You know, thinking, okay, one side, whenever Lesnar does something, the crowd are intrigued, they're interested, they remain silent if need be to just focus on what the hell Lesnar's doing. Cena gets involved and the crowd just perk up, but only to show displeasure or irritants. It annoyed me, but it overall created this big fight atmosphere that the crowd were rowdy, they were interested, they gave a damn, and they wanted to see it. And that's what really played itself through to me. And it really made it nice fun, actually, because the crowd were in disbelief last time round. They were seeing something this time that they can go, okay, this is something I can get behind. Nice one. Match length and pacing was a 3. Now, honestly, I've already mentioned, I would have mentioned in the SummerSlam review, that match was slow and monotonous for a reason, to tell a story, just like the Undertaker match at WrestleMania 30. But, if this one picked up pace fast, it was able to go from slow to fast, but it didn't feel like it was unnatural unless Cena was doing a massive move in it. You know, he didn't even hit the 5-knuckle shuffle in this. Just going to say that out there for now. And overall, sure, the match went a good 16, 18, 20 minutes. And overall, it went a little bit shorter than I thought it was going to be, and we had less German suplexes. But the pacing really gave this one. It went for a decent amount of time for what it was worth. Not long enough, considering what we could have done. But overall, the pacing made this match. It didn't feel sloppy in its execution that way. And my enjoyment, it was a 2.5, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't the funnest match I've ever seen, but you know what? It told a good story, the crowd were into it, it was paced really nicely, and it kept me glued. I've got to say, it wasn't the funnest, but it definitely kept me interested, because I was wondering all through, what is going to happen? What is going to go down here? And it's good to see a match in this modern day and age that will legitimately get me intrigued as to the outcome. I thought to myself, okay, Cena could win, but it's likely that Lesnar is going to. That DQ finish made me mark out at the end, thinking, what the hell is going on here? And it made me intrigued to watch Raw tonight. You know why? Because I haven't had a reason to watch Raw for over a month. It's the reason why I've implemented the new 3-strike rule, meaning I can quit out of Raw after 3 strikes have been committed. I can pull that off, because it makes sense. This is the kind of thing that will make me say, yep, I'm watching Raw tonight, that's going to happen, I'm definitely going to stay up for this, and it's fun that way. This match was a lot better than the first one for me, because I enjoyed this one a lot more. At 2 3/4 stars, it shall be. And guys, I now have to get on to my final thoughts. This pay-per-view did a lot better than I expected to be. Night of Champions, all the titles on the line, storylines not being built to its best ability. WWE's Raw output this month has been awful. Hell, the Raw output for the last month and a half has been awful, meaning that storylines haven't really been given the attention that they really need to make the psychology work. But the good thing is a lot of matches delivered on some storyline pieces. And the in-ring quality was very good. Sure, there were some sloppy moments and the crowd at times really didn't matter, and Florida Georgia Line ruined an entire match, but honestly, this pay-per-view wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good either. There was one match over 3 stars, there were a couple hanging on upwards of upper 2s, and then the rest of them were down in the 1s with one dipping below. It was a medium show. It was a mediocre show that really sums up when, if WWE can do 1 or 2 things right, it doesn't really matter. Because honestly, the pay-per-view product is the best they have at the moment, and it will continue to be so. Let's hope to God that Raw can pick up. This pay-per-view wasn't the best, but I will give it 5.5 out of 10. It was a solid pay-per-view with a lot of 2-star matches. I can be happy. But what, actually thinking about it, with a lot of stars in the lower ones, I'm actually going to put it on a 5. A 5... Yeah, 5 out of 10. A 5 out of 10 from me. It's simple. It's middle of the road. There's a few things you need to go and see. If not, well, just watch Raw tonight. We'll see everything in picture form. Yay. Okay, guys, I'm going to get out of here. It's been a long, long day, and this review is now finished. Night of Champions is done, and I'm sorry that there wasn't a predictions video. Again, technological constraints really proved a problem here. However, this should come to you nicely. What did you guys think of Night of Champions? Put your comments down there in the comments section, and if you want to see anything that comes up from the CC Network, whether it be video game playthroughs, future anime reviews, future reviews about a talking pony show, which I think some people would find annoying nonetheless, but if you want to see wrestling analysis, well, it's probably going to be pay-per-views for a while until the network comes in and I can review some old ones for you, let's hope to God, and there could be something interesting coming in the future that relates to Raw that you might find interesting. What that is, I'll have to tell you guys at a later date, but if you want to see all of the content that comes out of my channel, the CC Network, click the subscribe button down there, I would gratefully appreciate it, and give it a share and a like as well. I would appreciate it gratefully for you guys to watch my content and enjoy it. And you know what? The bigger it grows, the better it'll be. I have been Freddie Thomas, you've been people watching, this has been a Night of Champions review, an audio review I should say listening, for the CC Network. I will see you guys next time. Cheers!